We made it, fellow hunters. We've crossed the threshold of the new year and we're ringing in 2024 loud, proud, and rowdy. With the 2025 release of Monster Hunter Wilds on the horizon, the Monster Hunter community has absolutely erupted with YouTube videos, Twitch streams, comments, and of course, hunts. Such a resurgence has caught the attention of those adjacent to the existing player base and bringing Monster Hunter back on the radar for many who are wondering what all the hype was about. In a lot of the discussions I've had around Wilds over the course of the last month, there has been quite a lot of existing fans mentioning how they're returning to World Arise to tide them over until we hear more on Wilds. But for many others, there's been a common theme. One single question burning in the minds of those who, like us, were absolutely wowed by Wilds' trailer. But where Monster Hunter once had only their curiosity, now has their attention. Whether we're uninitiated or longtime veterans, many of us are wondering the same thing. Should I play Monster Hunter World in 2024 when Wilds releases next year? You see, in 2014, Monster Hunter would change forever. Capcom took their existing formula and envisioned something bigger, something better, and more ambitious than before. They envisioned a game so profound that it would quote-unquote go up against Hollywood movies. In fact, it was so ambitious, Capcom actually had to implement cost-cutting measures to ensure the studio could stay afloat until the game's release. In a prior video, I discussed some of the ways the game's format would evolve throughout the course of its development. The world they wanted to craft wasn't just going to be evolutionary, but revolutionary, where not just the environment and monster behavior would be lifelike and vibrant, but also the player's agency and freedom to experience it. They wanted to create something powerful and gripping that would reach audiences around the globe and cement Monster Hunter as a name neatly tucked away in a special place in our hearts for years to come. This would create quite the ripple effect in how the game would take shape. A more open environment without loading screens between zones would hasten combat and movement, for instance. This then begged questions about how not just monsters, but also the player should be able to navigate said environment. Furthermore, how should monsters and endemic life act or react, no longer restricted by the boundaries zones had artificially imposed? All of these factors, as Capcom cultivated such a seamless environment, would place a much greater emphasis on navigation, which then in turn would beg questions about how this environment could equip the player for more agency in and out of combat while traversing it. This would yet further create a need for improved monster AI behaviors and personalities, throwing open the door for a whole new dimension to monster and endemic life behavior, yet further again lending to the believability and authenticity of the world as a whole. These were such heavy emphases for Monster Hunter World that the original prototype of the game didn't even have combat, and all the playtesting centered around player agency and freedom of motion, all beautifully stitched together as a lush ecosystem with impeccable attention to detail. The world around you felt truly alive. Even so, this sort of ambition didn't come without its opposition. Monster Hunter quite reliably assured Capcom they'd sell 4 million copies, and the core fanbase leveraged some pretty heavy criticisms against this new direction Monster Hunter would take, claiming it was just pandering to Western audiences. This new direction also begs some concerns both from Capcom's Japanese branch alongside longtime fans of the series, so much so that one of the directors for Monster Hunter 4 and 4 Ultimate, Kaname Fujioka, had to come forward to address the elephant in the room, stating, "We're not taking things that people in the West hate and fixing them to make Western players buy it. People sometimes make that assumption or they get that fear, but that's not the case at all." The mainline Monster Hunter team was emboldened, doubling down on their design choices and the direction for their game. World's director Yuya Tokuda echoed Fujioka's sentiments, choosing to place his faith in the team supporting him and the potential their immense creative vision could achieve, going on to say that it's more that we want to have this great core action gameplay where players observe monster behavior and then learn how to take advantage of that and manipulate that to assist in hunting them. We want to make it so that if they make mistakes, they don't feel it's unfair, but instead think it's their mistake and they have to grow and learn. Over the course of the next 4 years, the world they'd create would continue to evolve and innovate, all wrapped in a bow of graphical fidelity and technological advancement. They set their sights high and chose to take risks, allowing their creative passion and talent to shine through. What they were creating had potential. So much potential, they risked alienating a majority of their existing player base. Yet still, through the perseverance and dedication of a team who would seek to create a game that would take advantage of every hardware and technology advancement at their disposal, they would finally see all of their hard work pay off. With high risks come high reward, and January 26th, 2018 Monster Hunter World would hit PlayStation 4 and Xbox One worldwide to universal acclaim. In a prior video, I mentioned how World was what brought Monster Hunter to the core gamer demographic, furthermore going on to be the best-selling Monster Hunter game of all time. In fact, in a mere 3 days, over 5 million copies of World shipped to audiences across the globe, overshadowing the 4 million Capcom had come to expect from other entries in the franchise. Their hard work had paid off, delivering a game that danced with the upper echelons of AAA titles and took the industry by storm. The beautiful mirror sheen of the polish the Monster Hunter team delivered, despite the risks, created such an experience that it helped Capcom reach their most profitable fiscal year in history. And when you compare World to Monster Hunter 4 or even Tri, there is a particular cohesiveness to World's identity that sets it far and apart from the other games in the series. You see, the gaming landscape over the last decade has taken some interesting turns. Sure, we've had AAA releases and commercial successes, but the demands have steadily continued to rise. Players and developers alike have high expectations for a game to deliver a cinematically saturated experience with gameplay elements, characters, storylines, and mechanics all rivaling that of million-dollar budget box office hits. Now, I'm not casting any shade on the gaming community for having those expectations. I too have high expectations for Wilds, and I'm right here with you, chasing these new memories or heightened experiences as each generation of gaming matures. But this has caused something of a problem in the gaming space. A few years back in 2020, SuperData Research published a report evaluating a very prominent segment in the entertainment media industry: movies. The movie industry has been a huge part of our culture for decades, and the association the word Hollywood carries with it bring notions of fame and celebrity status. They all conjure ideas of success, prestige, and wealth. You can't even scroll Twitter and Facebook without some celeb's name showing up in the latest who's who's and what's what's and all the drama surrounding it. SuperData valued the industry at $19.1 billion. That's $19,100 million, which is an unfathomable amount of money and more than most would ever make in a lifetime. But what you might not realize is that in that self-same report, SuperData Research also evaluated a different segment in the same industry, one that has been long dismissed as nerd culture or some niche category only relevant to special interest groups, even so far as nearly meeting its demise with the crash of 1983. Gaming has gotten enough mass media attention to be included in the report. And what did SuperData find? That the gaming industry held an estimated value of $159.3 billion, nearly an order of magnitude higher than that of the movie industry. We're talking about $159,300 million, which is staggering. For what felt like a closet hobby for so long, sheepishly towed under the rug so no one would notice, is actually a behemoth of an industry, outclassing even the likes of Hollywood. When put like that, Capcom aspiring to Hollywood-level production doesn't sound like all that much of a reach anymore. Gaming as an industry and gamers as a community are the majority by 8 times that of the movie industry. To put it into perspective, such explosive growth and success means that the industry has such an incredibly high bar to reach for even AAA titles and high-profile releases to stand out. The industry is cutthroat, expectations are high, and the risks even higher. A company can spend 5 to 6 years and billions of dollars into a title they poured their heart and soul into. For the game to flop could spell the demise of an entire studio and cost hundreds of developers their job. This has had a massive chilling effect on developers as anxieties around a game's success become more and more pivotal to the entire company's success. A single misstep could cost the entire company years of growth and progress, discouraging high-profile developers from stepping outside their established norms. This is why we've seen such a proliferation of AAA games being pushed out to meet deadlines, with rushed development cycles, half-baked content complete with bugs and day-one patches, all hand-in-hand with micropayment transactions or loot boxes as they seek to secure financial stability over the long term. Now, of course, there are examples like Baldur's Gate 3 that absolutely delivered a well-developed product, content-rich, and met with both commercial and critical acclaim, going on to the Game Awards Game of the Year for 2023. But just look at all the conversations surrounding Larian Studios as people point to it as the poster child of what a well-developed release should look like. Larian created a game that stood head and shoulders above its peers as the exception, not the rule. Larian poured their heart and soul into Baldur's Gate, and it shows. And it's that same sense of passion and principle that motivated Capcom during World's development, where they simply wanted the end result to speak for itself. Boy howdy, did those results speak, catapulting Monster Hunter World to heights even Capcom didn't anticipate. It is their courage and bravery standing in the face of these risks and structuring their business to anticipate the costs to ensure the product that they would provide would be a crowning achievement in their portfolio. To this day, Monster Hunter World still trumps Monster Hunter Rise in concurrent players as well as sales, and though that's not to say that World is better than Rise, it simply emphasizes the fact that World wears the hallmarks of innovation, creativity, and passion on its sleeve, as well as Capcom's dedication to taking risks that challenge the established forms to create a product that is fresh and new. These are the things that make Monster Hunter truly special, and why there's even a divide in the player base as to which game is ultimately better. To create a game so profound that it would cause fans to debate over its successor is truly a fantastic problem to have. In a prior video, I talked about what Capcom would need to bring to the table if they hope Wilds will trump their crowning achievement in Monster Hunter World. The stakes are high, and the higher risks involved in the gaming space mean that Capcom is all too aware of how much is riding on Wilds' success. But it's also in that video that I highlighted the ways in which Wilds is meant to build off of and iterate on the foundation World laid for it. Wilds' trailer displays the same dauntless spirit and passion for innovation, with the Monster Hunter team dedicating themselves to excellence in their craft that made World such a success. But with Wilds on the horizon, the question does still remain, is Monster Hunter World worth playing in 2024? To which I say overwhelmingly and unashamedly, yes. I mean, does a bear crap in the woods? Come on, obviously. I'm not trying to sound like a shill for World because I have some sort of weird misconception like World's the best game in the series. Rather, I think there's a great deal of context as well as value to derive from experiencing Monster Hunter World and all that it and Iceborne have to offer. There's so much life and longevity that the game can deliver to folks who have not yet had the opportunity to experience it for themselves. Furthermore, if we're looking through a more objective lens outside of our subjective enjoyment of the game, we can see so much of World's thumbprint on something so short as a 90-second announcement trailer for Wilds. A great example of this is actually Asmongold. He recently picked up World, never having played it before, and cataloged his experiences along the way. And for someone who is completely uninitiated, he's now eagerly devouring every bit of World he can and steamrolling through the story. World's experiences, memorable moments, rich environments, endearing characters, engaging combat, larger-than-life monsters, and punctuated comic relief have left an indelible mark on the direction the mainline franchise would go. It's the character that World brings in its resume that gives it such a potent, lifelike appeal, with a high degree of player agency to satisfy even the most avid of gamers. It's a game that has improved on aging formulas and traditional mechanics, making it far more accessible for wider audiences, but with a near-infinite skill ceiling to test your grit and leave you with a satisfying payoff when you finally bring down your quarry. The wide variety of locales, monsters, and equipment mean you'll have no shortage of armor or weapons to craft or upgrade, and a whole host of weapons to choose from to meet your playstyle. When you go out on the hunt, you know exactly what your goal and target is, but with an environment so lush and open that you just can't stop yourself from taking little detours along the way. Items you pick up early game stay relevant until endgame, helping you craft new potions or meld new items, all while leveling your tracking skills to better locate a given monster in a future hunt. As you progress through the game, you'll find yourself face to face with more and more daunting foes, all bringing their own flavor of behavior to the fight. As I mentioned, Capcom had to create their own AI for monster behavioral patterns in the new world. With it come different nuances from monster to monster, where you get to learn the monster itself as much as you learn the skills and attacks that your weapons provide. More and more diversity unfolds before you as you travel from locale to locale, hunting new monster to new monster. Most of these things are core facets of the Monster Hunter experience, already represented in earlier entries of the series, but World stands in a league of its own in the way that it framed a lot of these mechanics and tweaked them for the enjoyment of both casual and core gamers alike. Never before has this much of the franchise's hallmarks been represented all together in one tidily knit package. And once you finish the main game, stepping into Iceborne, you'll have even more content to experience. And I'm not just talking about content for content's sake. There's a whole new village, new quests, more story, and even harder challenges that await. Furthermore, once you reach the end game, you'll have the Guiding Lands, which is an experience unto itself, providing access to unique materials for augmenting weapons with special abilities or stats to further improve them past their max upgrades. In fact, this is where Capcom first cut their teeth and set the precedent for what I think will be how the open world manifests in Monster Hunter Wilds. Additionally, with such a devoted player base and so many veteran hunters dusting off their armor to join the hunt once more, there's never been a better time to pick up World and join your fellow hunters in the fray. It's indisputable just exactly how much World has made its mark on the gaming industry and made a name for both itself and the rest of the Monster Hunter franchise. The mainline team who developed World should be proud, and would be proud to have you experience the lush and vibrant canvas they've painted for you in its ecosystem. Prices on Steam for Monster Hunter World and Iceborne are 60% off or more, ending January 4th. You owe it to yourself to experience everything World and Iceborne has to offer. So talk to me. I want to hear your experience with World. In fact, actually, do we have any of the 5th Fleet here? I want to hear your favorite part about World as your first real experience with the franchise. If you've never played Monster Hunter, are you going to pick it up? And if you've been with the series a long time, far prior to World, drop some knowledge in the comments to help guide the new hunters who will be joining the ranks. And last, will you be pre-ordering Wilds when it's announced? Now, before I wrap things up here, 2 quick things I want to mention. First, I just want to take a moment to shout out Jock Package, a legendary name by the way, who correctly guessed Palumu's rating in the comments of my last video. He might not have gotten both Palumu and Nightshade Palumu, but he was the closest out of the folks who participated. So great job, Jock, and thank you for watching my videos. Second, thanks to the incredible response from the Monster Hunter community and viewers like you, I am now eligible for YouTube Partner, and as of this morning, I've submitted my application, which is under review. I couldn't have gotten this far without the fantastic outpouring of comments, subscribers, and viewers who have enjoyed my content and the small space that I've made here in the Monster Hunter community. This is a big accomplishment for me and something I never expected, yet here we are, not even a month into making Monster Hunter videos, and you've literally thrown me into the best start to 2024 a creator could ask for. So I just want to say thank you for that. It means more to me than you know. And any of you who were here before Partner, well, now you can say you knew me when I had less than 500 subs. But there will be a couple of cards on screen with content I've produced, so if you're hungry for more, I'd be happy to chat with you in the comments on those videos too. And if you feel I've done a good job or my content is worth it, I would love to have you back, so please consider subscribing if you feel I deserve it. Thank you again. I'll be covering more Monster Hunter Wilds as information releases and hanging out with y'all in the comments in the meanwhile. I'm Jade, and to my new hunters joining us today, I bid you a warm welcome. And to all hunters, old and new, may the Sapphire Star guide your way.